Hello and welcome back to Warrior Moms. I am Michelle Davis, Carter's mom, and Amy isn't here with us in the studio, but I have Christine McHenry, who is one of the founders of Warrior Moms, and I'm so thankful that you're here and that we get to talk about Jamie this morning. Hi.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. Well, let's just jump in. I think this, seeing your posts online, Christine, this time, having you on the studio right in the middle of this time couldn't be better is the wrong word, but it's definitely the time that is probably really heavy on your heart right now.
Right.
So before we jump into that, let's just hear about Jamie.
Sure. So Jamie was, I always struggle with the current and past tense. He'll always be our 13-year-old son, forever 13. We lost Jamie on a spring break trip. He was on a trip, first trip away without us, with his best friend's family down in Florida. And he and his friend were crossing A1A down in Hutchinson Island to get some snacks. And they had been several times back and forth. And this particular day, they were going apparently to get some more combos, those pretzel snacks. And it was 7:00 on a Wednesday evening, and they crossed A1A, and for whatever reasons that we'll never know, Jamie's friend Nick crossed. He was fine, but Jamie hesitated, and he was struck and hit and killed by a 73-year-old driver. And,
oh my gosh.
Even 11 years later down the road, it's really hard to digest, to fathom that a kid that was so alive at the age of 13,
Right.
he was gone and on the turn of a dime. And it just, horrible. So that whole spring break, happiness, relaxation time with family, time to get away, the beach, Florida. It takes on such a negative connotation. And,
I bet when you see your friends posting, kids, heading to spring break, I bet your stomach just flips.
Oh yeah, it does. And, but for me, the whole seeing the memories and all the events leading up to it, again, it's like, I have to live those memories, because even 11 years later, I'm still processing it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, and it'll be a thing that I'll be dealing with the rest of my life. And that's just the way this grief is, and the way that, the love that I have for Jamie goes. And it's kind of this paradox that we live in.
I know it. We cling to those memories, and yet it's, it's so painful. Some days it takes our breath away.
Yes.
Yeah.
For sure.
I love how you, being, I've been in Warrior Moms, I think 4 years now. And one of the things that I really take from you, Christine, is, just, you have a fight about that this pain isn't going to take you down. And you talk about Jamie, you share about Jamie. There isn't a day that I pull up Facebook and I'm, seeing Jamie and learning something about him, and, your daughter, Emily, as well. And I feel like I know a piece of him, and he sounded like such a hoot.
Yeah, he was a character. I mean, we always kidded around with Jamie on an adult level, which he had a very advanced sense of humor. Sometimes it would get him in trouble. but
I'm sure that 13-year-old boy, right?
yes, exactly. And he was a light. I mean, he could be a royal pain in the ass as well. I mean, he was a mixture of so many of my relatives and, um, particularly my father. My father and Jamie would have gotten along famously. They both had that kind of sarcastic, but yet enduring. They were just they loved they loved their people, but they were going to give them a hard time and,
Yeah.
just constantly ribbing and,
Yeah.
just funny kid. And, yeah. So, after that spring break trip and trying to, I mean, how do you land back on your feet? You're never going to
Well,
be.
and remind me, Christine, sorry to interrupt. Were you
Sure.
there or were you at home?
No, no,
Or
we were not there. So I'm a CPA, and so I was doing taxes at the time. And during that time during spring break, I could never get away. I mean, it's right in the middle of tax season. So Jamie was invited by three different friends to go on three different trips. And one of
Mm,
them was a cruise, and it was too expensive, which of course, now in hindsight, if we
I
all
know.
had that crystal ball,
Right.
we'd change it up in a heartbeat.
I
But
know. Yeah.
so, so anyway, so Jamie was invited to go on, three separate trips, and he chose the trip that he went on. And, so, we felt bad that Emily, our daughter, who was 11 at the time, she wasn't able to go anywhere because, mom was working, dad was working.
Yeah.
And, so we felt bad. So we took her up to our cabin. We have a cabin up in the North Georgia mountains, and we were up there. We played like frisbee golf the day before the tragedy.
Right. Had those
We
times.
just had a great time with Emily. We played tennis. We kind of, we really soaked up that time with Emily and tried to make spring break trip, special for her.
Yeah.
And then, so we were the day of the accident. We had hiked all around up in the mountains up there. We went mountain biking, and we went out to dinner that night. And we were we were at a lodge, and picture like a very granola, cerebral Appalachian trail hikers go to this
Yeah.
place. There's
Uh-huh.
there isn't any internet or TVs. Everybody's there with a book or a Kindle, and they're, just very kind of peaceful, quiet
Yeah.
lodge. And we were at dinner that night at the lodge, and that's when we got a phone call,
Mm.
that there was an accident. And right then we lost signal. I mean, we
Oh
just heard
my.
there was an
Oh,
accident, and Jamie was at the hospital. And, and then, trying frantically to get in touch with somebody. So we actually went to the front desk at the lodge and asked to use their landline.
yeah.
And that's when we called the father of, uh, Jamie's friend who he was with on the trip. And he had just gotten there to the hospital. And that's when they pronounced Jamie dead, like
Oh
right
my.
when we got on the phone with the doctor.
Oh
Um,
my gosh.
so, yeah. So, I mean, just
And then you're not anywhere near
to be able
home.
to get there. Yeah. And it was,
You're how far away is that driving? 7, 8 hours?
from the North Georgia mountains to Miami, probably about
Oh, they were
15,
in Miami.
16 hours.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh.
And it was just that dichotomy I will never forget of the cerebral calmness of um, that,
Yeah.
lodge versus the entire McHenry family screaming and running around like idiots. I mean,
Yeah.
and people just staring, wondering what the hell is wrong with these
What
people.
is happening? Yeah.
Yeah, just awful, awful,
Oh
awful.
my gosh.
And, just that night, we decided not to go back that night because, like I said, by the time we got the call, it was around 9 o'clock and it was pouring rain up there.
Yeah.
And we were up, to get up there, you had to drive on these, regardless of the weather condition, treacherous roads.
Yeah.
And so we waited until the next morning, and the waiting was just
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
awful, awful, awful. But
Unbelievable. And then you have this journey still ahead of you on so many
yeah,
different levels and layers, and yet at the same time your brain can't believe any of it.
no, and I mean, it was like I felt like I was in not a sitcom because in no way was it funny, but just kind of like a drama, and it was just trying to visualize, this kid that was so full of life and
Yeah.
that we weren't going to see him was just, I mean, it just seemed impossible,
Yeah.
absolutely impossible.
And then you
Um,
have your daughter, your 11-year-old with you too, to
yes,
walk her
exactly. And,
through this path that you don't, you know, there's no roadmap. Yeah, you're trying to navigate something that's just the unthinkable. And then you have your 11-year-old with you. I mean, it's just
right, right. And, I felt so bad for her. When we got the news, she was, of course, Jim and I are just completely losing it. And
yeah.
Emily was running around saying, my brother, my brother. And this, that's where, you meet the kindest people on this journey. I remember, based on Jim and I having our own meltdown, this family who was at the lodge with these two boys who were about Emily's age, they set Emily down and they were talking to her and
Wow.
asking about, her brother and asking her to tell stories about him and
Oh
just,
my gosh.
yeah. And, you know, of course, then, I felt I had to snap out of it and focus on Emily. But yeah, it's a very, very difficult road. And I knew it was going to be, um, based on my own experience. I was 6 when my older brother Kevin drowned on a family vacation. Again, you take this, what was supposed to be a fun time. We were camping up in upstate New York, and my brother accidentally drowned in a pool that was put in by the campground owner the year before because there were so many drownings on the Delaware. So,
Oh, wow.
I saw my parents go through this road with me as their only surviving child.
Oh my gosh.
Um, and, of course, it was a different grief journey for them back in the 70s.
Yeah, different
They didn't
generations.
talk about, yeah, people didn't talk about grief.
Mhm.
Back then, they just kind of was something you dealt with on your own. Um, but, now I'm so thankful that we have the warrior moms and that we have vehicles like Facebook or other open forums like these podcasts that we can talk about our grief because, each one of our journeys is completely and absolutely its own, experience, but together we grieve. We know, we
Right.
understand.
Yeah, this
Um,
deep, deep pain that just you can hardly explain what it feels
yeah,
like.
yeah,
Yeah.
you can't. And, the fact that we are here in year 11 And I mean, it's still an everyday part of my life. It will be for the
Mm-hmm.
rest of my life, as Carter will be for you. I mean, it's just to let go of it or move on as society expects you to do is to let go of that love. I mean, our
Yeah.
love for our children is always there,
Right.
regardless of whether it's 2 weeks, 5 days, 3,740, whatever hours, which I
Yeah.
actually calculated it'll be
Yeah.
for us at year 11. I mean, it's just,
Wow.
it's awful. And but I feel like, the acceptance of knowing that it's always going to be there, that pain will never go away, um,
Mm-hmm.
is kind of part of being able to focus on the rest of your life.
Yeah.
That's just the way I go.
Yeah. When you think about those, you know, dark days where, the grief, especially in those first several years, um, what were things that helped you? If you had to, tell a new grieving family, what did you do that's helped?
Um, you know, just keeping their memory alive every day
Mhm.
and telling stories, and whether they make you laugh or make you cry. I mean, and they will. They
Yeah.
absolutely, even the funny stories still make me cry. But, just, uh, it's so hard because the first year, the first 2 years, you're in
Mhm.
such a fog and almost a denial. Like you
Mhm.
feel like they're going to walk through the door at any point because
Yeah.
they are, they're like for Jamie, he was so full of life.
Right.
And, but also, Emily, our, surviving children, their world has been completely torn apart
Yeah.
and they're often
Never.
overlooked. Um, so focus on your other children. They're in a lot of pain too, and they won't express it as much, particularly in front of their parents, because they don't want to make them more upset than they are. But you
Yeah.
really have to focus on your child. We we had the opportunity of getting Emily involved in a support group for kids here in Atlanta. And it was a support group for kids who lost either a parent or a
Mhm.
sibling. And in most cases, it was a parent. So
Mhm.
even on that level, I think Emily had a hard time connecting. But regardless, it was a kind of a safe place for her to go and
Yeah.
talk about her loss with Jamie. And um, so I'm thankful for that. So, use resources that you have available and just focus on getting through the day to day. We also, I think another thing that it's really, really been helpful for us is
Good grief. Sorry.
that's all right.
Go ahead.
Is we started a foundation to honor Jamie and to kind of pass along. He was an avid lacrosse player. He loved lacrosse, everything about lacrosse. So we started a foundation and we host a 5K every year in his memory. This year will be year 11.
Wow.
And it's still going strong. Thank God for that, because for us as grieving parents, it's also our outlet and our way to kind of continue to love and care for Jamie. This foundation provides that. And for that, I'm so thankful. And we also got Emily very involved in helping us, plan the
Mm.
5K. And so I think in a way it was cathartic for her. Um,
Yeah, a way
you
to
know,
celebrate her brother in, because of course you're sad all the time, but there's a
Oh,
way
yeah.
to, come together with friends and, yeah, have this positive focus on Jamie.
Yeah. And that's the biggest thing is that, everybody listening or whoever's walked this horrible journey. I mean, we're all given a choice, and that is to either let it completely consume us and swallow us whole, or, we still have our lives to live. And, we're all only here once. And even though we've got this tremendous, tremendous, indescribable weight, I mean, that you don't know, you can't even describe unless,
No,
God forbid, you're in this club.
I know it.
Even though we've got this weight that we have to carry, it's so important to be able to live your own life and try to find that, that happy place, but also knowing that that pain is never going to go away. And I think the acceptance of that, like I said before, is
Mhm.
part of getting to that happy point.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely. And
so
I watch you in your posts, and um, of course, celebrating Jamie, but like you said, living life. I mean, tell a little bit about all the things that you do. I think that kind of feed you as a person and feeling, that you're involved in life.
well, I'm kind of all over the place with a lot of stuff.
You are.
Um,
That's what's amazing.
but I like, I like to challenge myself and I don't know, find different things. And like I kind of learned how to play the guitar,
I
define
mean,
the word play, but I'm getting there. I'm getting better.
yeah.
It's fun. It's a challenge and it gives, because that's the thing. I mean, even though this horrible, horrible thing has happened to us in life and it, it, it is defining
Hmm.
of us, but at the same time, you got to find other things that define you and make you who you are. And, whether it's finding a new hobby or I don't know, it's just because
Yeah.
it is so easy to let it swallow you whole.
What
Um,
do you remember in those early days? Like, did you tell yourself, like, you have got to get out of bed? Like, what was the voice? Like, where does that come from that you just decide? Like, do you
yeah,
remember
I mean,
making those
I,
conscious choices?
for me, like the bombardment of just the people and I mean, I was very thankful. Don't get me wrong. I was very thankful that our community, my relatives, my family, my friends, they all formed this bubble of care around us. But I
Hmm.
was like, I got to get my space. I've got to get out, you know. So I would get up and I would go run on the Greenway, which is like this outdoor nature trail by us.
Uh-huh.
And I would run and be with nature. I used to take the kids for walks on the Greenway. So it was like I just had my time and I would get all my, you know, that Greenway path saw me crying hysterically,
I
you
bet.
know,
Oh,
and
oh,
I would just listen to Jamie's music and just get, get all of, I'd scream. I'm sure the forest thought I was nuts,
yeah.
but just to get out and get up and get just, kind of work through the emotions. And then get back and then be there for Emily because I knew she was suffering too. I mean, that was really hard, and I felt so bad for Emily, because I knew myself that, and I was only 6 when I lost my brother Kevin, so I had a very limited, memorable amount of time with him, where Emily had 11 years.
Right.
And that's difficult. I'm so thankful she had that time with him, but then, you think about the rest of her life without him, and
I know
it sucks. It
it.
all around sucks, and it always will. Um, but you have to find that you have to accept that this happened, and
Mhm.
accept that you're never going to be the same person, and that the pain is never going to go away. But then also choose to live your life the best that you can, and and find that joy does exist with that pain. I mean, it's it's hard, and it
Yeah,
always will be, always,
absolutely.
always.
Well, my
Especially, I think about Jamie's friends now, and like he had a really tight knit group of friends from, like anywhere from pre-K all the way up to, some of them joined the circle, quote unquote, in like middle school. And those boys are still very, very close. And now, you see the weddings, and
oh,
it,
I
it just,
know. Yeah.
and it tears, you're happy for them, but it just freaking tears at your gut. I mean, it just tears because Jamie would have been there,
Oh,
and that
yeah.
Jamie will never have a wedding.
Right.
And that's, you know,
Oh, it's just
again, the acceptance of that, of knowing that no, he'll never have a wedding. I'll never have grandchildren through him, but it's,
Mhm.
I know that. And it's a hard, hard pill to swallow, but
Oh, yeah.
it's one you have to, you gotta, and then
Gotta face.
live your life in full, despite or in spite, despite, whatever the word is, the
Yeah.
correct,
Yeah. Uh-huh.
in spite of our loss, to live life the fullest that you can, because
Yeah, I
we're
mean, when
all only here once, you
that's
know?
so true, and the first time that I came to the Warrior Moms, I think just speaks to how you and Christy created this community. I mean, when you walk in, I kind of tease about it, but it sounds like I'm coming into, a monthly wine club. It's
Right,
loud and laughing and hugs and telling silly stories. Um, and then you also could look around and you have, two moms sitting there and crying and holding memories close and sharing with one another. And it is so just apparent that that is part of your purpose that you have found through
right,
this, really helping teach us, how do we do that? How do we live in the of being both incredibly sad and finding great joy?
right. And that's, I mean, some of these women are, I mean, like, look at you and I, Michelle. I mean, everybody had heard your story on the news, and as grieving mothers, you hear these stories and you feel the first thing, I mean, of course, you think about the kid, but
Yeah.
you think about the parents, and you're like, oh my God, those poor people, they are in for a long, difficult journey. And
Yes.
that's what I thought about with you. And so when you came to the first Warrior Moms meeting, I mean, I was like, oh my God, how is this woman here? And yet and not to turn the interviewee tables, but you are such a joyous person. And we all heard what a horrible, horrible story that was with the shooting. And so likewise, I am in awe of you. But, you know, I mean, the fact that we can all get together and tell our stories and not feel like we're telling our other non bereaved friends
Mhm.
who have kind of, I feel many of my friends have kind of gotten tired of me talking about Jamie. I mean,
Yeah,
but
and
I
they
always
love.
will. And I
Yeah, and
always want to talk
I'm sure
about
they
Jamie.
yeah, and I'm sure they of course they love you and love Jamie and want to hear it. It's just without really understanding that it is part of our fabric. Like we have to share because that's all we
Yes,
have.
exactly. So
And,
that's,
and our
and
people do the best to kind of, nod and listen and be a part of
yeah,
it. But, oof,
but they don't know. And,
yeah,
it's a horrible initiation to actually get to know.
yeah.
And you don't wish that upon anybody. But, so the thing about Warrior Moms is it's a safe haven. It's a place where I can tell and, like it takes a lot for me to cry. And, I find it's such an outlet of emotions
Mm-hmm.
when we go and we hear other people's stories because we know we can connect that way.
Yeah.
So I'm thankful that we have this group and, like that one meeting that we had, when was that? A few meetings ago where there were,
Mm-hmm.
oh my God, there must have been 30 women in that room.
Yes, there
And
were.
you hate it for every single one of them.
Right.
Um, but it's just and Warrior Moms, even though we have, like I said, we have our own separate individual stories, individual loss, individual way our children died. You get in that room and it's like, okay, I can talk the way I want to talk now. I
Yeah.
can, I can talk about Jamie and not feel bad about it, not feel like people are like, oh my God, here she goes again,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
because they will always, always be a part of us for the
Yeah.
rest of our lives. Um, my husband and I, we talk about Jamie on a daily basis and
Mm-hmm.
we
Yeah.
laugh.
Do.
We
Yeah.
laugh and we cry and we mourn all the stuff that he has missed. We hate that, hate it. But at the same time, we have to, it's like Dr. Seuss, be glad that what's the saying? Be happy. I don't even know. Google it.
I can't remember it either,
I'm
but
trying to be happy that it happened and not sad that it's over,
yeah.
and that's a difficult thing
Yeah.
to do.
Right.
Um,
To cherish the time you did have.
yeah,
Of course
yeah.
we do. And that's what is, I think, so powerful when we all get together is you do see just the beautiful people, really finding the light and, trying to remember that, okay, we're thankful they were our children, but gosh, also this grief is deep.
It's very, very deep. And, I think about my parents and, my dad would always say to me, of course, I was 6, Kevin was 8. And throughout my life, my dad would say, oh, do you know what today is? And I knew, but I'd be like, no, I
Yeah.
didn't want to open up that door because I
Yeah.
felt like it made my parents really sad. But
Right.
now standing in their shoes, I know they were sad and they wanted to talk about it. And I feel bad that I never allowed that for them because
Yeah.
I didn't really know.
No.
I was young.
And we don't as humans and like I think you had posted it if somewhere on one time, like if you don't understand why I have to keep putting pictures, thank
Mhm.
your stars you don't understand.
Exactly. That's exactly right. And when
Mm-hmm.
because I post the same stories, the same pictures, but it's kind of like when I get up in the morning, that's one of the first things I do. It's kind
Mm-hmm.
of like my meditation time with Jamie. I
Yeah.
remember the memories, I post the stories, and then I peel back another layer on that giant onion of grief that we never get to the
Yeah.
center of in this lifetime. But it allows me to then be able to go about my day and focus on the here and the now.
Yeah.
Um,
Do you think that that carving that time really does allow you, control maybe is the wrong word, but a little bit where you have this space for sadness and talking to Jamie. Does that help you have less sort of triggers throughout the day, or maybe
I
even
think
a
it,
little
I
bit of
think it,
guilt even?
right. I think it does. But there's always those rattlesnake moments, the
Yeah.
rattlesnake grief, I call it, where like, you're in Publix or Kroger and all of a sudden you're walking down aisle 5 to get potatoes for, a
Yeah.
recipe you're making that night. And his favorite song comes over on the Muzak or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yep.
And it's just, people don't realize how it brings you back to day
Yeah.
one, or, to happy memories, happy times. I've got like an entire playlist of Jamie music and, all the songs that were popular when he was 13 that he loved,
Yeah.
which now listening to them, they seem so dated. And, they'll only continue to get more dated, but it's my connection to him.
Yeah.
And it always will be. I mean,
Yeah.
it
Absolutely.
sucks. It
It
sucks.
really, really does.
There's no, this type of loss, it's just out of the ordinary. It's not the sequential, you're supposed to bury your parents and not your
Hmm.
children, and all the dreams and the future. Like when Jamie was hit by that car, I always think of the world and fate and how in an instant it was rewritten. The girl he was supposed to marry, the kids they were
Yes.
supposed to have, and like boom, it happens, and
Yeah.
then
A new
other
instantly.
other
Yeah.
stars align, and
Mhm.
that's a really difficult, the what ifs, what haves, that's awful to live with.
Yes. Well,
Yeah.
I want to just end with, tell us one kind of like description of Jamie, so we can um, kind of feel that 13-year-old. What's something, or even just like a photograph, something you've posted recently, maybe, when you think of him, that just
Oh
brings you.
my God. I'm trying to think of like one particular thing, but one of the this this is crazy. So I was Jamie's room, which we're still in the house that Jamie was born and brought, well, he wasn't born in the house, but brought home from the hospital and
Mhm.
lived all of his life in this house. So his room, even though we changed it up, um, it's still pretty much a shrine with all of his stuff in there. But
Yeah.
it's also become, out of necessity, the place where all the gift wrapping goes, where the
Right.
vacuum cleaner, the
Yeah.
ironing board. It's just,
Yeah.
that's just the way it is. So,
Right.
I'll go into Jamie's room and grab something and not even, I mean, of course, I think about him when I'm in
Right.
there, but, then I go out and do my thing. And the other day, and this is typical Jamie, and I swear to God, I felt like it was a message from him.
Yeah.
And so I think I was looking for ribbon for a friend's party that I was going to. I was looking for ribbon for a gift. And I open up his desk drawer that I've been through so many times, just with this accumulation of his stuff. And there on the bottom, I found, and I just started laughing. I found his fart machine,
Oh
which,
my gosh.
which he thought was hysterical. And he brought it to school. He got in trouble
Oh
for
my
it.
gosh.
And it made me laugh and cry at the same time.
Yes, of
And I
course.
thought, oh my God, April, and this is just last Tuesday. And I
Oh
was
my,
thinking, oh my God, April 1st is on Monday. I'm going to have to bring that to the office.
yes.
But, yeah.
Maybe make it a whole week or month of you carrying it around.
Yes. Cause that's just, he was just funny. And, I mean, again,
His
that's
little
kind of
quips.
scatological humor, but he was just a funny, funny kid.
Oh, like
Um,
the text messages that you share online between y'all and his facial expressions, the silly, just ridiculous, pictures he would send you. Just
yeah. Oh, he
like you
was,
said, so alive, just hilarious.
yeah. Yeah. The pictures from this week 11 years ago are popping up, and um like there's this one picture I posted. I i had texted Jamie. I kept saying, call us. He was having fun, and he'd send one word answers, like, Jamie, are you having fun?
Yeah,
Yes. you know
yeah,
or like a heart or whatever. And then, so as a matter of fact, it came up this morning, a post where I I had texted him and I was like, do you feel guilty? Your mother's at home slaving over tax returns. You're in
yeah.
paradise, something like that. So he responds not with any words, but with this picture. And it's him with all these palm trees and he's kind of got this like smirk on his face, like, yeah,
Yeah.
I feel real guilty.
Yeah, real guilty. Here, mom.
Yeah,
Yeah, here's my guilt. Nope.
yeah,
Aw,
exactly.
I love it.
So,
Well, thank you so much for really, guiding us and sharing your journey and just always so honest. I know um we look to you for just, how should we walk through this life? And I can't thank you and Christy enough for that. So
oh, Michelle, well, you do a great job of honoring Carter yourself. I mean, it's really difficult, and I thank you and Amy for doing these podcasts and hopefully helping a lot of people out there.
I know it's
Um,
amazing. We just can't even believe we pulled up our numbers this week, and now we're in 27 countries.
wow.
I know. So,
Do we need
hello from all over the world.
hola? Oh, what's some other?
I know we need a whole list. Bonjour.
Yeah,
Bonjour.
do we need subtitles for some
I
of our?
know. I know. I mean,
Wow.
it's absolutely amazing. And we're so thankful that this is helping in some way.
Yes.
We
And
just,
to all you women who are in this horrible club out there, please just keep on keeping on and you know,
yeah,
just
give
tell your
yourself space.
story, and always your
Yeah.
child will always be with you. I mean, it's just, I wish you the best in navigating this horrible path
Yeah.
and living your life.
Yeah, and you always remind us, and I think it really fits your, your love and who Jamie was of, you know, Jamie would want you to laugh and be silly and all of
Yes.
these things. And you think about, you tell us that, if he can see this world that you're living, you want him to be proud and not to be like, oh my gosh, mom, what are you doing?
Right. Yeah. Get out of bed.
Yeah, exactly. Come on, you used
Yeah.
to make me get out.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, I played a tennis match on Thursday, and there's another warrior mom who has not made it to our meeting yet. And she happened to she's a friend of mine on Facebook. I
Hmm.
never met her in person until Thursday. She recognized me, and it was her first time in 3 years getting out and playing tennis.
Oh,
And
wow.
she said, and I told her, I said, your son would be so proud of you getting out there and trying and living life.
Yeah. And it's,
So,
it's that balance of honoring your grief, right? Of giving yourself grace. And like you said, finding the space to scream in the forest. But then also digging in. It's both of those things. And,
yes.
yeah. Well, thank you for carving that path for us and joining us today.
Well, thank you, Michele, and
Yeah. We'll
keep on
always,
keeping on. Thank
yes.
you.
All right. Bye.
Bye.